After 6 years of playing Tetris, I still struggle to distinguish the S and Z blocks from each other by color when they appear in the next queue. The problem is so bad that it even extends to my post-game pillow visualizations while under the spell of the Tetris effect. According to Wikipedia, the Tetris effect, also known as Tetris syndrome, occurs when people devote so much time and attention to an activity that it begins to pattern their thoughts, mental images, and dreams. One of the best pieces of advice I ever received came to me last year by way of John Green's The Anthropocene Reviewed, where he recounted the words of his friend Amy Krauss Rosenthal. Pay attention to what you pay attention to. This dictum seemed so simple when I first heard it while covering a 4th of July celebration in Norfolk, Nebraska. Yet, in some ways, it began the unraveling of my initial love for journalism, as I became disillusioned with the daily grind of rural event coverage. Due to my insufficient skill and the unseen hand of publisher-driven biases in our assignments, I found myself frustrated at being unable to cover what I perceived to be the realities of life in northeast Nebraska. When I returned to school, I was motivated to dive in harder than ever on the issues that were important to me, and the community that I was writing for, and my college newspaper. This knee-jerk overzealousness and burnout denial led to my eventual departure from the paper after I fried my network of support. I've spent the last year more or less away from news reporting, but during that time, the Tetris effect of journalism has impacted my personal life. I would jump to answer emails and phone calls, root around for scraps of information about political developments that didn't pertain to me, and swivel my attention endlessly towards inconsequential minutiae at every turn. My untempered velocity of thought drove me from topic to topic as I tried to construct a new potential vision of my future in my so-called free time, even as I was still trying to process my initial burnout and the grief that followed in its wake. In my final year of school, I returned to contributing to my college newspaper, albeit in a more limited capacity. But even so, the ghosts of my past frustrations continue to haunt me. I find it difficult to get excited about things that I can't find meaning in, to get invested in what I sometimes feel to be superficial pleasures distracting us from the biggest problems of our time. Even when I know that I am not alone in the day-to-day sense, it is devastatingly isolating to find myself awake at 3 a.m., racked with terror about the future, keenly aware of my loved one's need for sleep, and staring unblinkingly into a 10 by 20 iridescent well of puzzle pieces. The blocks in front of me seem only just conceptually far away enough from being symbols of the myriad problems facing us to allow me to look at them for hours on end without dissolving into the knot of anxiety in my chest or the braids of hypertension behind my head. It is exceedingly hard for me to keep track of all the time that seems to bleed away in those transcendent moments of freedom from the numbers strap of productivity. Those moments of transcendence, or maybe even attentiveness, lead to holes in the lines. Pushed off chores, forgotten appointments, unkept promises, that ultimately get buried by the onslaught of obligations that continue to fall into my life. When people ask me when I'm available for something, I feel like I can see the problem falling onto my schedule like a tetromino zipping into view as I struggle to complete a 200th, a 300th, a 400th line before breaking up and burning out. At the end of the day, life goes on. The clock keeps ticking and the pieces keep falling. A global pandemic here, a national election there. Your car dies on the way home, your family gets a cat they know you're allergic to, your old friends fall out of touch. Everywhere we look, there are holes in the line. But there are also people working tirelessly to fill them and clear another layer so that we can keep pushing forward and keep playing together. Just like in life, nobody wins or loses at Tetris. Every time we burn out or break up, we get another chance to try again. Maybe you get a new job, maybe you get involved in the community, maybe you find a new person who you care about and who cares about you. Maybe you break out again and brush yourself off for another go. Maybe you're not so privileged. Or maybe in your free time, you sit down for a game of Tetris, get a high score, call it a night, and go to bed after a hard day's work, feeling like you're on top of the world. In this world of moment-to-moment impermanence, attention, not money, is our most valuable resource. In the past 2 years, the biggest things that have changed for me are my awareness of my finite length of existence, and the value which that realization has caused me to place on how I spend what free time I get. While on one level the problem with paying attention to what you pay attention to is that sometimes life requires our attention everywhere at once, on another, Rosenthal's advice encourages us to better understand ourselves so that we may take control of our own destinies. We aren't mindless beings passing through moments in time, desperately trying to manage everything that's thrown at us. We are moments in time and moments in mind, reveling in the fullness of each instant as we choose to accept the limits of our own existence.